Hey folks, what up? Welcome back to Nerdcast. Back with my original co-host, Matthew. Been a while. How you doing, Matthew?
Oh, it goes. It goes.
World's going crazy.
Yeah.
World's been burning since the world's been turning.
Yeah.
And our new co-host, Omar. Welcome to the show, man.
Hello, it is me.
So, we all love BioWare, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm buying BioWare is like some of the best games ever.
What are the best BioWare games you guys ever played?
The Mass Effect series and the Dragon Age series are straight up some of the best video games basically ever.
Would you say they're art?
Yeah, no,
Well,
all
yeah.
video games are art. That's just kind of how, that's the medium.
I would say
That's just
Dragon
how it
Age
is.
Origins is my favorite fantasy game of all time, and
Oh, it's
Star
pretty
Wars
good.
of the Old Republic was just, I wasted my early college years on that. That game was so fun.
I mean, like,
Early college years. I wasted my entire college years on that game.
Well, I'm still in college, so, you know.
I wouldn't say that it's my favorite fantasy because I do like a lot of like the Witcher stuff, but
Same.
the Dragon Age universe was so goddamn good that I set up like a full 3 playthroughs just so I could, when Dragon Age 4 eventually runs around, I could have a playthrough where all 3 protagonists survived.
Oh, nice.
So like I fucking sacrificed, what was his name? Loghain in Dragon Age 3. I sacrificed him to the Fade, and I'm just like, it'll be fine. No one likes Loghain.
Okay, what was your favorite Dragon Age game, guys?
Dragon Age 2.
Origins.
I'm going with 2. I love 2.
Yeah, I like 2, but I don't know. It felt like a freaking crime. It didn't feel like you're seeing the world. It feels like
That's
you're living in a
because-
city and you're fighting crime.
That's the point.
That is, first of all, that's the point of Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is sort of more of a like focused storyline on a single person's struggle in general versus a struggle that holds the fate of the world like Dragon Age 1.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 2
3,
is what's it called? It's just it's a localized story to the city of Kirkwall and Hawke's role in that city. It's not like a whole ass story where like I need to save the world like the Inquisition.
No, it does have
One.
consequences
Like-
for the world and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's
but
about one person.
and it starts off very simple.
Yeah.
Like unlike the other Dragon Age games where literally the world is ending immediately. Dragon Age 2 starts off with I need money because we're going broke.
It's more of a
And
down to
ends
earth
with
game.
Yeah.
I'm killing both leaders of both of the biggest factions in the entirety of Thetis.
Yeah.
Which faction did you guys support?
Mages. No,
Mage.
sorry, not mages. I supported the Templars.
I support mages. I always go mages.
Listen, dude. Too many blood mages. Too many freaking blood mages.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were too many times where as soon as the mage is like even slightly backed into a corner, like that group of mages that like were being transported in like Act 1, right? The moment they got even slightly in danger, one of them immediately resorted to blood magic, and the rest followed suit quickly.
I mean,
I did it.
yeah.
I always support the mages just because I feel like it's too. Oh, one did this bad thing, so all must. So that's kind of how I do the playthroughs. That's how my character sees it.
That is completely
right?
fair, right? And I do agree. Like at the end of Dragon Age 2, where like she pulls up the right of annulment for a singular mage, that one's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Like end of the day, that is a messed up decision
No,
because it
and-
was a single dude's decision,
And
and
just
just kill everyone.
And just for the
But
record,
end
the
of
right of
the
annulment
day-
is where they separate the emotions, right?
Yeah.
But end of the day, I separated the fact that like, yeah, it was only one mage with the fact that like, oh, this has been happening over and over and over again in Kirkwall.
Yeah.
Something needs to change, and I don't think that mage is going free when this is the problem mages have caused.
Well, I see part of the reason that they start using blood magic again is like the Templars are always keeping them down and stuff.
Yeah,
And
like the Kirkwall circles, just like a hellhole.
Yeah.
But like I could never justify it to myself that I would help the mages when there's been too many instances of blood magic in too short of a time.
I will say this: Dragon Age 2, and throughout the Dragon Age main trilogy, you see both sides of the conflict. Though there's good Templars
Oh yeah. No.
that want to help the mages. They just want
Yeah,
there's
like,
there's literally a Templar that says the circles should just be places of learning and study, and they should be
Yeah.
allowed to do whatever they want to do. You know?
Yeah, like what's it called? There's obviously the Templar in Dragon Age 2 that like had a mage daughter who was like a really like good proponent for helping mages, and then there was also the Templar who helped Hawke's father escape the circle, and who Hawke's father named Carver after.
And then
like it's great, but like there's also that secondary problem that I feel with that, which is like they're sort of causing the problem. Because like even Hawk like can immediately go into blood magic, which no one will recognize because it's a gameplay thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like you can go into blood magic so goddamn easily. It's like it's really dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite species to play as in Dragon Age?
Elves.
Elves. Oh, Qunari are fun. Qunari are fun.
If I'm being honest, it is Qunari or Elf. Because those two, Qunari, I love playing as Qunari in Dragon Age.
Amazing
Inquisition.
aesthetic.
I tried it in Inquisition a couple times. I got as far as like Wicked Eyes and Hearts, I think is the quest, where you're like in the court and ball. Which that quest was really fun as a Qunari, because like it is a lot of micromanaging to make sure you can get the best like ending with the lady, instead of like having to fight her in the middle of the ballroom. There's like that whole dance scene that's really cool and shit.
I love.
But like I feel like playing as a Qunari, just like honestly, the problem with Inquisition is that there's not much difference between playing the races and like the start. Yeah. Dragon Age 1 had that awesome moment, right, where at the start of the game, no matter what character race you choose, or not no matter what character race you choose, what character race you choose dictates like what starting quests you have, and it dictates a little bit more on the story and how you like relate to it. Like obviously, there's the whole part in Dragon Age 1 where when you're playing as like the dwarf, and you you obviously escape your brother Balin, and then you have the option when you come back to help him ascend to the throne when that is deservedly your throne.
Yeah.
No,
it's really cool.
Inquisition doesn't have that.
Inquisition, unfortunately, doesn't have that. You don't have many moments where like you'll find a character who knows your character personally. Like there's like moments where you're technically talking to characters that know you, but that's through the war table, which is a whole separate issue that I hate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I liked the war table in Dragon Age Inquisition.
I liked the concept of the war table, but having to wait actual real life 24
Yeah,
hours. I had to wait 24 goddamn hours for the Grey Wardens to do their thing. You know how much that sucks?
Yeah, but you have to admit, the whole having your own personal castle, running your own army, the strategy, the logistics,
really cool.
That was awesome, okay?
Oh, yeah.
It was really, really cool. But I just hate how they did the whole like war table having to wait real time, because I feel like that was sort of a way they tried to push you to playing the really crappy multiplayer.
Yeah, real time in video games I don't think should be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like it depends on what we're talking about, right? Like if you're doing if you're playing like a game like Ark or something like that, real time things can work out, right? Because like
it's gotta be in the right
But it's gotta be something that you're actively participating in.
Yeah.
Like, you have to actively choose to like spend resources to craft a thing. Unlike in Inquisition where you're literally choosing one of three people, sometimes even three people, sometimes it's two people, sometimes it's literally just one option. Yeah. You gotta wait like 24 hours for like again the Grey Warden thing, and if you make the wrong decision at any point during that whole Grey Warden like war table thing, you don't even get to do that part where the Grey Wardens survive. They'll die.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to go through so many hoops to make sure that the Grey Wardens survive, and it's stupid.
Something I like about what BioWare did, like Matthew, you're probably more familiar with this than Omar is. You played the KOTOR games, right?
Yeah.
You know how there's that dark side, light side sort of dynamic?
Well, the first one is the only one done by BioWare. The second one wasn't by BioWare.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No.
Sith Lords is still awesome, though. But you know like what I mean? When they started making RPGs, early 2000s, there was that whole light side, dark side dynamic.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like later games like Mass Effect and Dragon Age really diversifying the morality system? How'd you feel about that?
Well, Dragon Age doesn't have a morality system, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. That whole morality system is exclusive now to Mass Effect. The Mass Effect trilogy.
It's Renegade and Paragon. Yeah. Renegade and Paragon.
But like, it was definitely an interesting thing.
So like with Knights of the Old Republic, of course, it's like, I don't know, dark side, light side, but then again, with Renegade versus Paragon, so like it does shift a little. It's still very similar, and
for like the Mass Effect part. Yeah.
Well, Mass Effect compared to KOTOR.
Yeah, Mass Effect like with its morality system is a lot more like it doesn't change too much. No. Versus Knights of the Old Republic, Deadass changed like the whole story, right? Because you could go back to being a Sith Lord, or you could just join the Jedi if you wanted.
And that's the same with like Star Wars: The Old Republic, but it's more like I'd say Mass Effect with it because you can't.
The story still goes, right?
You can't change the story fully, but there are a lot of parts that you can make a little different and stuff. So it's not like by being dark side. Excuse me. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, just by being dark side doesn't mean that all of a sudden the story changes in like Sith victory or something.
Right, yeah.
The
overall story doesn't change much. Yeah, you just get a couple moments.
You can be a light side Sith who gets victory for the Sith Empire. So
it's
or the Republic.
It is rough, but in a way it makes it more interesting.
It would be interesting to me to see if you were doing like a light side Force user or a dark side Force user, or just a light side versus dark side thing, as like the opposite side of like the war. So like if you're an Empire person who did like a lot of light side stuff, it would be interesting to see if they had like they could make like a story arc where you defect to the other side.
There is one.
There is
in the DLC.
I never got
so
that
like
far.
if you subscribe once, you get to a DLC where you can be like, where you go through all this stuff, and you could even be a light side Jedi. You could be a light side Jedi, like
And
light side your
defect to,
entire
like, the dark side,
Yeah.
Empire.
side, but because of politics and stuff, you can say at this point in the DLC, oh, the Sith Empire was there for me when I needed them. The Republic told me to screw off. I'm allying with my allies, the Sith Empire, and you can still be a light side Jedi. But you can also make the choices of being a light side Jedi serving the Sith Empire and
A dark side
being
Sith with the Alliance as well.
and being a spy, or you could be a spy for the Republic inside the
Interesting.
Empire. So like, once you get into the DLC more, there's more of that aspects added
Right.
in. Like,
I guess that's cool. I sort of wanted to see like a sort of morality system where like it actually matters
oh
more
no,
than
definitely.
what it does.
I think
Yeah.
because the morality system, again, with what I was just saying, it doesn't come into effect. It's just what do you want to do?
Yeah,
right?
it was kind of cool to see the dark side like corruption hit like Force users.
Oh yeah,
That's really cool.
No, that
I
is
really
always
liked exploring
fun.
the galaxy in SWOTR. That was so fun.
The
Like
what?
exploring the galaxy. The amount of exploration in
Yeah.
that game, like going to Tatooine. Tatooine being a massive war zone between the Sith Empire and the Republic.
Yeah, it's.
What was your favorite planet? You played with SWOTR. What was your favorite planet
I
to
played
explore?
sort of the Republic like for like 60-ish hours roughly. Barely got through most of the story because I always get like whenever I get to the planet, I always do this planet's like storyline. So I think the last planet I ended up on was what's the snow planet called again?
Hoth.
Hoth. I ended up on Hoth, and then I sort of like I tapered out in the game. Couldn't keep myself going because I was starting to get like burned out.
Right.
But like I got to Hoth and I was doing like the story. I always did like the planet storylines
Yeah.
before I ever moved on to the other planets.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I did like kind of slightly fuck myself with the whole dark side light side alignment by doing a singular light side choice because I kind of like the guy that I was doing it with, and I didn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
But like that was 100 light side points that like screwed my what's it called, like progression really hard.
Like when I look at it, I think I've only done like one playthrough with a character where I've been 100% to one side.
Right.
Because like, even if I'm like a Jedi or something, it's, you know,
I mean-
there are some dark side choices where it's like, that's
what makes sense.
That's what makes sense and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some Sith ones where it makes sense to let people live and help you, because I've
The
done
Sith
like
ones are a lot of just like killing a guy for like no goddamn
yeah,
reason.
exactly.
Yeah. Well,
but like
yeah.
Something I hate with like Star Wars: The Old Republic, and something that makes me like Mass Effect's like whole Renegade Paragon thing is that like with the Old Republic, it feels like running the middle like line choices of like sometimes dark side, sometimes light side is like somewhat viable. Versus in Mass Effect, you don't want to do that whole like middle of the road thing. You want to go either Paragon or Renegade because you'll lose out on a lot of dialogue options.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's
Which
your,
can I just say something for Mass Effect 1? I
Yeah.
hate the persuasion intimidation thing.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't know at the time that it was because I had just come off of like a full trilogy playthrough, so I was doing like another Mass Effect 1 run, and I was like, I've got a lot of Paragon. Why can't I make this blue choice? And I realized I didn't have enough points to persuasion, and it pissed me off.
can we all agree though? The Normandy is probably the most sweetest, most awesome ship in the history of gaming.
It's the most recognizable starship in gaming.
I'd say it's up there, yeah.
With the Infinity and the Ebon Hawk. Yeah.
Infinity, what's that one from?
Halo.
Oh duh, I forgot.
I don't know much about Halo.
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna be
wouldn't.
real.
I'm gonna
The
be
Infinity
honest.
is awesome.
I love Halo, and I just forgot about the Infinity for a split second.
Sorry.
And I wouldn't say the Infinity is one of the most recognizable ones, especially since they just kind of delegated it to a minor background.
I'm
thing
sorry.
in
I just like the
game.
lore
It's
behind it.
just
I
the
like
car.
the. I like
It's
the.
just-
yeah,
I like.
it's just
I like the.
Master
lo-
Chief's Honda
Yeah,
Civic.
no, like
I like the
ships,
lore
If
behind
we're
it.
talking ships, then it is the Normandy, I'd say.
Yeah, the
and-
Normandy
Yeah.
goes through a lot in the stories. They never like relegate it to just a like point A to point B vehicle. In Mass Effect,
It's
1,
your home. It's your base.
It's dead-ass your
It's-
home. In Mass Effect 1, there's that whole like scene, like obviously at the start of the game where you're flying through the place, and then I think like near the end when you're like jumping around through like the what's it called, the relays, and then in Mass Effect 2, straight up gets destroyed and you got a new one. And then in Mass Effect 2 as well, you're still doing like a whole fight at the end of the game, trying to get through like the Omega 4 relay.
Yeah.
Which is a whole process that had me so goddamn stressed when I played Mass Effect 2
I
for the
thought,
first time.
I thought
Yeah.
the upgrades are pretty simple for the ship.
But like for Mass Effect 3, then there's also like the whole fact that like in the end of the game you're seeing it like you're people fighting through like the Reaper forces, and it was
Yeah.
cool. Like they never relegated it to just like my Honda Civic.
Can we disagree though? The final battle in Mass Effect 3 is probably one of the most satisfying ending. Not the end, the color,
not the end, the choice.
The battle,
not
the
choice that ends the game.
The battle of
Earth. It is very nice because it does sell the fact that it is a hopeless battle that you are just barely winning.
And you see like everyone you helped from like the first three games.
It's great. Like you can even see Zaid and like Kasumi, which I never expected to. I don't know if Kasumi actually shows up to the battle.
Oh, and my favorite DLC of any game of all time is Mass Effect Citadel.
That one's pretty fun.
That was just total fan fiction, okay?
Out of every game of all time, that's not my favorite because like the Witcher 3's Blood and Wine DLC to me is like freaking awesome.
But the
Citadel DLC is really nice because you get to like just spend time with the characters that you spend time loving like for like a whole ass trilogy. Like those scenes when you're doing like the Liara romance and those scenes in the Citadel with Liara are so goddamn cute, and I like my heart melts.
Yeah. Who was your guys' favorite character in Mass Effect?
Liara.
Garrus.
I mean,
Garrus, Liara, and Morden.
It's gonna be Liara and Tali. I just those two are.
I'm gonna be real. I literally never used Tali.
No.
In Mass Effect 1, I didn't see. It didn't feel like like points were worthwhile to like put in my squad.
Yeah.
In Mass Effect 2, I didn't care enough to use her because she was just like sort of like I used her like during her loyalty mission. She always felt a little not very powerful, especially since engineer class in the Mass Effect trilogy sucks ass.
I guess like what I do with playthroughs isn't like when I set up like my squad that I'm taking in for a mission, I'm never thinking, or not never, but like most of the time I'm not thinking, oh well, I need an engineer and I need a soldier for this or whatever, or I need a biotic for this one. What I'm thinking is, what would be the cooler interactions?
I mean, same.
For me, what would make more sense for people to go on this? I want a scientist and I want and I want like someone who's good with mechanics, right?
Like,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking more like that, and that's
fair.
what I do.
That's really fair. That's how I ran in Mass Effect Andromeda. If I'm being real, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, I just like when I played the first Mass Effect game, I ran Garrus and Liara.
Yeah.
And then in Mass Effect 2, since I couldn't use Liara, I used Garrus and Grunt. And then in Mass Effect 3, when I could use Liara and Garrus again, I used Garrus and Liara. Yeah. I don't ever switch up my parties in games. So when I was playing Dragon Age 1, it was my character, which was like I played my character as a support mage. It was Morgan, it was Zevran, and Alistair.
Yeah.
In Mass Effect 2, not Mass Effect, sorry, Dragon Age 2, it was Hawk, Mage Hawk, with like a Blood Mage subclassing, because I didn't care enough to do like support at that time.
Yeah.
It was when I could have Carver, I had Carver, and then like there's a whole part of the rest of the game where you basically don't have Carver anymore.
Yeah.
And it was what's it called? It was obviously Varric because it's Varric.
Yeah.
Can't remember what was his name. I had Aveline a lot of the time.
I can't
remember the fourth person for the life of me.
For Dragon Age 2, I always had like the ones that I like rarely switched out would have been Varric and Isabella.
I didn't recruit her in my Dragon Age 2 playthrough because I didn't like her in my first Dragon Age 2 playthrough. In my first Dragon Age 2 playthrough, I was like, I liked her and I romanced her, but like as it went on, I never finished that playthrough, but as it went on, I started to like taper off of her because she was like sort of like, it felt like she was like, she made those like morals of, oh, they were transporting slaves, and that whole like when you're talking to her about her debt and all that shit. And it feels like bullshit. She was like saving face, honestly, because like she stole the Kunari book and, like as soon as possible and didn't apologize for it, and like it sucked. It just sucked so much.
I
will never understand him not liking what was
Isabella?
the character? Yeah. No, not Isabella. What was
Josephine?
her name? No. And what's it called? Aveline.
Aveline?
I don't understand.
I don't like Aveline all that much.
She's fun. I like her. She's so fun. She's
such a
so
good...
nice to see. Like, like it's especially why I like a lot of Cassandra in Dragon Age 3. It's because seeing that tough like lady persona, like melt away as soon as they see a person that they genuinely like are love and are interested in.
I found
like
the
seeing
soldier
her, like,
aspect
seeing
cool.
her like fumble so goddamn hard and trying to romance that guard, and you're just like, dude. Just tell him. It was so wonderful, and I was just like, I was rooting for them the whole time.
I thought her her arc in the game was always fun.
Yeah,
it's always
like,
nice.
She has an arc of realizing that like she cares about. She can move. She says she moved on from her husband's death a while ago in the start of Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
But you can tell it still holds on her.
Yeah.
And then when she finally like talks to that guard and they get to know each other, you can see that she's finally actually moving on and learning to love again, and it's wonderful.
That kind of reminds me of the Mass Effect 3, that pilot dude who lost his husband, and the pilot dude with the drum ship.
The guy who pilots your shuttle.
Dude, that hit me so hard. That hit me so hard.
I don't think that's his name. What was his name?
I think it was Ramirez.
No.
But just
No, it wasn't.
It was not.
But
the only reason I
helping
ever
him
pull up the
move
name
on from
Ramirez
his
is, like,
husband
Call of
was
Duty.
just, helping him move on from his partner was just so.
By the way, I like in Mass Effect 3 that you can be a nice-ish person while still being renegade, because when it comes to like actual dialogues with like your crewmates, they don't put like renegade or paragon points on that.
So let me just say, Grant, you got it horribly wrong. Steve Cortez.
The only reason Ramirez ever pulled up to my brain is because
Call of
Ramirez, protect the Burger Queen or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's it called? I liked how in Mass Effect 3 you didn't have to like talk to them and be like a dick to get your renegade points. They gave you reputation, which was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have your character like actually like open up and have emotion and like be nice to people while also being that ruthless soldier that gets everything done.
Yeah.
Like when I had those moments with Liara, like where Liara approaches Shepard when you've romanced in Mass Effect 3, right? And you can talk to her about the fact that you feel like everything's going to shit and nothing's going to work out. It feels nice to be able to like see Renegade Shepard admit that.
Yeah.
And not be like a stone cold, no, I'm fine, it's okay. Like it's good to see that like Shepard will still be like that soldier who will get anything done at any cost, while also being a vulnerable human being, which is why I loved Andromeda so much. Andromeda is one of my favorite games. It's not better than like the Mass Effect trilogy, obviously, but like I like it a lot because it shows that vulnerability to Ryder.
Yeah.
Ryder is an awkward ass person. I played the female Ryder because I like the customization options a lot more because male Ryder customization sucked and the beards were awful.
Oh yeah.
But like I was playing the female Ryder and I was romancing Suvi, right? And seeing that awkward ass romance dialogue where it's like your accent's adorable, I think you're adorable. Seeing that dialogue between them was awesome because it felt human.
Yep.
It is. Okay, so this is for the last like 10 or 9 minutes about this. I want to have a small debate here. What do you guys think is more telling of a story and with its themes, Mass Effect or Dragon Age?
Like specifically talking about the themes that it presents in its story?
Like which games like overall themes and message hits you harder, Mass Effect or Dragon Age?
It depends on which themes we're talking about, because like Mass Effect has the themes of like human like will, that the will to move forward, the will to survive. Like you can see that in every single aspect of the characters that you fight with. In you can see that in Shepard, the desire to protect. If you're playing as a renegade at any cost, or as you're playing as a Paragon, you protect as many people as humanly possible.
Not
versus like in
Yeah, just go ahead.
And then in like in what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. God damn it.
Dragon Age.
And in Dragon Age, you have the whole moral of the like seeing what like an organized religion that while it means well, ends up like alienating so many people from it that you would see people who you would not think are particularly religious because they've seen the ugly side of the religion, like Varric.
Yeah.
He would seem like someone who does not believe in the chantry and in all that and all of what they say, but he is Andraste. He is Andrastian. He believes, but even though he sees like the problems that it is causing for all of the people he cares about, he saw in Kirkwall the Andrastian chantry fucking everything up at every opportunity because people in power abused that power.
Yep, especially from religion. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see Varric, like even though he's seen that, he can still keep faith in the overall proper message of the religion.
Yeah.
Like it depends on it just depends on what like meaning you're looking for. Like if you're looking for the will of humans to like progress, like with what's his name, the Elusive Man, you can very clearly see in Mass Effect 2 that he holds humanity in high regard. He wants to move forward, but as Mass Effect 2 continues and as Mass Effect 3 starts up, you can see that he lost the plot.
he thought he was
too big to fail.
Yeah, he thought he was strong enough.
He thought he could resist indoctrination, and he was wrong.
No, he was wrong with it. Because he's human.
He was human. He had human faults. He thought he was above those human faults. But in the end of the day, he was just as faulty as any other human, and a lot of people suffered for it.
Yeah.
Oh, Anderson's death. Anderson's
death fucked me up.
Well, that one was sad.
Because it's literally your father figure. It's literally the closest thing you had to a father figure in Mass Effect.
Assuming your character was like the orphan or the what's he called?
Okay, mentor.
Survivor.
Okay, no different than Sergeant
mentor.
Johnson. No different than Sergeant Johnson. Okay.
Yeah, because like Keith David especially does a great job with the voicing.
Oh,
but
Keith David is great in everything.
Dude, yeah. But like it does hurt to see like the guy who you've essentially been fighting with and for your entire military career die in front of you. It fucks you up.
And I will say this: as much as I hate the Elusive Man, I do feel bad for him at the end where he's looking down Earth. If only you'd seen it the way I seen it.
Yeah.
Look, at that moment, you see like he genuinely cares about this world. He has ideals. He has an ideal future. He's not like Saren, where he's a Machiavellian jerk.
No. Saren was not a jerk, and it shows in the end of Mass Effect 1 that he was afraid.
Yeah.
Same as Elusive Man.
Saren was like, it was like the thing with with Mass Effect 1 is that the writing was a bit weaker overall because that was earlier BioWare.
Oh, yeah.
But with Mass Effect 1, you could see in the first interactions with Saren that while he like poses to like greatness and all that shit, he's afraid. He's afraid of the future that the Reapers pose, that they will kill everything.
Yeah.
He's afraid of that, and he thinks that the only way to possibly survive them is to submit.
Or emerge with
realize that he doesn't have the information that submission doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because no one has the information on the Reapers. All he thought was that they just killed because people resisted. So he thought that you could submit and survive because he thought the life of servitude was better than death.
Yep.
And he fought for that. He fought for survival of all people.
And only in death he realizes.
Yeah, only in the end of Mass Effect 1, with either like obviously the intimidation checks or the charm checks. Yeah. He sees the error in his judgment. He sees that he shouldn't just like bend the knee because it's the easiest way. He sees that he should have fought. That he should have thought about fighting and talked to the people.
And that's why in the end he sometimes can take himself out.
That's why when you can like help him see the error in his logic and he shoots himself. But unfortunately at that point it's too late. The Reapers have changed so much of his body that it can function without an actual like organic soul like life to it.
No, not even soul.
It's straight up like it's synthetic. He was synthetic at that point.
Any organic parts, because at that point all his organic parts burn away, and it's just synth.
Like everything under like his head, like hell, not even his head was organic. Everything about him at that point was synthetic.
But his mind.
And that's why I hate the synthesis ending.
Part.
And that's why I hate the synthesis ending.
Yeah.
I hate the synthesis ending with like burning passion because it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
I'm just gonna destroy the Reapers full blown every time I do.
Destroying the Reapers is the best option because it leaves the world, the galaxy of Mass Effect in a situation where it can learn.
It can learn and regrow.
Synthesizing takes choice away from billions and billions of people.
Yeah.
If you choose the destroy ending, I don't like to talk about the control ending because it's just stupid as shit.
Oh, yeah.
If you choose the destroy ending, they can obviously rebuild the relays to work again. And they can rebuild the Geth. So nothing is lost. And they will have learned from the past mistakes. They will have learned that the Reapers come about because people do not know how to control
their own technology.
No. Because that's the problem. They tried to control their technology. That's the problem with the Quarians. They tried to control literal life at that point.
Yeah.
So they had too much of a separation of a creator and a creation. With the destroy ending, there's a possibility with the Quarians surviving and possibly rebuilding the Geth, there's a possibility for the creator and the creation to become equals.
I like that.
And when if they were to become equals, you wouldn't have the situation of, like the Reapers say, organics being destroyed by their own synthetic creations, because they can finally reach an equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm gonna end this podcast on the note. The saddest moment I ever played in Mass Effect 3 was watching Legion say when Talia goes to Legion. Oh God, yeah. She's all like, "Legion, the answer to your question is yes. I know Talia." And for the first time, he talks like a person.
Yeah.
He talks as one individual instead of as the collective.
Yeah.
And you could see that's one of that's the first moment that shows you that the Geth aren't just a collective hive mind of beings; they're individuals. And like there's
They're
always
capable
that,
of
that there was always that whole individuality because they talk about the processes in like Mass Effect 2 there was like the whole mission where you're like choosing to destroy or reprogram the what's it called, like the
rogue ones.
The rogue ones, yeah.
Heretics, yeah.
And like you can see that like not every process within his body agrees. Most of them agree on just like what's it called, reprogramming them, but that most of them is quite literally like 20 out of like 10, 20-ish thousand.
Isn't it like 1,080?
Well, he's an advanced model. He's an advanced model.
Thousands of them at least, and only 20 or so more decide to kill, and there was still like a good portion that were undecided as well.
Oh yeah.
There's always individuality, but that was the first moment that you see that individuality peak out.
Yep. Especially after an entire game of just kill them all with Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1 shows them as like a villain.
Yeah.
When Mass Effect 2 rolls around and you get Legion and you see that sort of like, these were just like an extremist group.
The second he saves you, you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah, you have that shell shock where he's Geth, he should be shooting at me.
Wait, he's Geth, he just saved me. Wait, why is he wearing my armor?
I mean,
exactly.
I do think the artwork for the Krogan and the Geth and Mass Effect 1 is awesome.
Oh yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's where we'll be in for today, folks. Guys, thanks for joining me on the Nerdcast. Matthew, thanks for coming back for this one time. Omar, welcome to the show. Till next time, folks. Stay sane.